Hello, my friends. Touchknot here in the studio. It's getting to be autumn in New England, and I'm indoors today. It's not freezing out or anything, but it just happens to be that way. A little bit wet out there. Sometimes I go out in my gardens at the studio here to do a little recording, but today I'm inside. And it is MacPhail month in October. Our October 2024, this whole year we've been focusing on one clan per month of the 12 Hatton clans, as you may know. Hopefully you do and have been following along. If not, go back please and see what we've done. We've been busy. So MacPhail month has been very interesting. I came across an extremely important woman that's just so admirable. It's not even, I can't even, that word doesn't even fit her. She did so much in her life for the benefit of others, countless others, hundreds and thousands actually. She was a fantastic lady. Her name is Katherine MacPhail. I'm going to start off like so here. This is quite a little bit of a read here, so I'm going to share this with you. The Scottish Women's Hospital for Foreign Service was founded in 1914 and was begun by Dr. Elise Inglis to provide nurses and ambulance drivers and doctors and such for the war effort. By the end of World War I, 14 medical units had been outfitted and sent to serve in 7 countries affected by disease outbreaks or experiencing heavy fighting, such as France, Russia, Serbia, and Romania. Yeah, she's quite a woman. This is Dr. Elise Inglis started this. The Scottish Women's Hospital was spearheaded by Inglis as part of the wider suffrage effort from the Scottish Federation of the National Women's Suffrage Societies, funded by private donations, as well as the American Red Cross. Established shortly after the outbreak of World War I as a voluntary all-women unit, the Scottish Women's Hospitals offered opportunities for medical women who were prohibited from entry into the Royal Army Medical Corps. So women were not invited to share their talents to save the men on the front, unfortunately. Headquarters were in Edinburgh throughout the war, and from there, also committees in Glasgow and London worked closely with what's called the French Red Cross. At that time in Scotland, it was unusual for women to study at all, especially medicine. Women from reputable families were expected only to lead the household and perhaps have an interest in art, music, or literature. Catherine Stewart MacPhail was born in Glasgow on 30 October 1887. Her mother was Jessie MacPhail, her father, Dr. Donald MacPhail. As a young girl, she watched her father as he examined the patients and also went along with him on some of his countryside visits to the outlying farmsteads. She made a decision to dedicate her life to medicine, and this was probably also influenced by her uncles, who were as well successful doctors. Her parents understood the importance of education, and she was enrolled to study medicine at the University of Glasgow and received numerous awards in physiology, zoology, anatomy, and surgery. She graduated in October 1911. When World War I broke out, MacPhail decided to volunteer for active service in the British Army and sent a letter to the War Office. They declined her request and explained that the Royal Army Medical Corps did not accept women. She turned to the Red Cross and received a similar response. She contacted Dr. Inglis, who is recruiting women doctors and other medical staff for a women's volunteer medical unit. Dr. Inglis offered her hospital team to the British War Office, but was rejected by the sentence, "My dear lady, go home and sit still." Dr. Inglis then sent letters to the embassies of France, Belgium, Russia, and Serbia, where they were received immediately and with gratitude. As for the units in France and Belgium, they were already filled, and MacPhail was in a dilemma whether to go to Serbia, which was little known in the United Kingdom at that time. She later wrote, "I really hardly knew where Serbia was, but from what I read, I knew it was very difficult for them." MacPhail accepted the position and joined as the youngest of a group of 30 women who comprised the staff of the first unit of the Scottish Women's Hospitals in Serbia. In mid-December 1914, MacPhail's unit spent time learning Serbian. Immediately after Christmas, they boarded the ship Nile, which sailed to Piraeus, Greece. On 2 January 1915, the group boarded a train for Kragujevac, which was the headquarters of the Serbian army and military medical team. Though she was a junior doctor, she felt her skills were not being used appropriately. She was a very ambitious young woman. During 1915, an epidemic of typhoid fever emerged among the Serbian army. In June, MacPhail became seriously ill herself. Her hearing was damaged by long-lasting high-temperature fevers, and she lost her hair, and so covered her hair with a hat or scarf for a long time. When she improved well enough to travel, she reluctantly left Serbia, returning to Scotland to recover completely, reaching Scotland that September. As soon as she was sufficiently well, off she went again. MacPhail contacted the Serbian Support Fund in London and began a campaign at home to help the organization, traveling all over Scotland, holding lectures about her experiences in Serbia and appealing for help for the country. In 1916, early in the year, Serbia was behind enemy Axis lines, so MacPhail joined up with the Friends group, which operated in France. But by May, she was part of a medical unit on the Isle of Corsica. All during 18 and 19, Katherine was tireless, founding clinics, improving drinking water, and countless related projects in the war-torn region. She established the first children's hospital in Belgrade, Yugoslavia, and even a facility specifically for children with tuberculosis at Dubrovnik. In 1934, a very large and extremely well thought out children's clinic was built on a vineyard in Serbia, which MacPhail had purchased with her own funds. This included dorms for doctors and nurses and was centered around the long-term care of respiratory conditions in children. Sunlight came into 3 glassed-in galleries that opened onto a courtyard where the old orchard and grapevines still grew. This was a place of hope. School was even held on the grounds for the children, as well as Orthodox religious instruction being provided. In 1940, the situation in the region became serious, and the sanitarium staff began to prepare with the military against an enemy attack. In February 41, MacPhail had a plan to evacuate children from the hospital. 3 weeks before the war, all children were sent from the hospital to their homes, and all the hospital equipment was packed and sheltered in the basements to be protected in the event of a bombing. The situation was very serious, and the British Embassy advised all British citizens in the area to leave the country. Not leaving in time, she and other British residents became prisoners of the Germans, later being repatriated to Britain. MacPhail returned to Belgrade after the liberation in 1945 as leader of a special unit of relief workers sent by Save the Children. As a report published in the Daily Record says, she described the local conditions, noting that of 1,000 beds, 920 were bare. Hospital equipment, such as X-ray machines, had been shattered or thrown into the Danube River. The building was soon after destroyed, being unusable now. In 1947, the new regime nationalized all hospitals. In the Anglo-Serb Children's Hospital in Belgrade, which MacPhail had founded, was transferred to the Yugoslav authorities in the autumn of that year. After nationalization, the hospital continued to exist as a state sanatorium for bone tuberculosis and was overseen by the Department of Orthopedic Surgery in Belgrade. Realizing that nothing could prevent the onslaught of the communist regime, MacPhail returned to Scotland in 1949, settling in St. Andrews, passing away there in 1974. What an incredible woman, my friends. There's much more actually to this. I could have probably talked another 10 minutes about her. Just what she did. The people that she got in order for contacts to build these places and get her equipment and get permission, and just she was an incredible logistics worker as well as a medical person, of course. She had to be. She was on a mission, and she never wavered from that. All right, so thank you for being with me here on the Touch Not channel during MacPhail month in October. Touch not, my friends. We do hope you're enjoying the wide variety of content on the Touch Not channel. Please subscribe.